Have you ever looked at a house price and just wondered, what is this place really worth, It seems like it should be a simple question, but the answer, well, it's this fascinating story told through all these different layers of data. It's so much more than a new kitchen or a fresh coat of paint. Today, we're going to decode that story, and it all kicks off on one very specific street.
Right, so to get to the bottom of this, we're starting with a real-world puzzle. It's set on this charming tree-lined street in San Francisco called Retiro Way. So check this out. On the exact same street, you've got two homes with a price difference of nearly $1 million. You've got number 115, a two-bedroom condo, listed for just over $2 million bucks. But then, just down the block, number 33, a three-bedroom house, just sold for $3 million. How is that even possible? That's the puzzle we are going to solve today. To crack this case, we're going to peel back the layers one by one. We'll start with the two houses themselves, and then we're going to zoom out and see what's happening in the neighborhood. After that, we'll dive into the pros toolkit for pricing, figure out what buyers are really looking for, and finally, see how the wider economy fits into the picture. So let's get into it. Okay, first things first, location. Both of our houses on Retiro Way are in San Francisco's Marina District. So before we can even begin to compare the properties themselves, we have to understand the neighborhood they're sitting in. And trust me, this context is a massive piece of the puzzle. And here is our first major clue. The Marina District gets a 78 out of 100 on the Redfin Compete score. What does that mean? It means it's classified as very competitive. This tells us we are not dealing with just an average market here. We are in a total pressure cooker. So what does very competitive actually look like on the ground? Well, it means homes are regularly selling for 7% over the asking price. And the most desirable properties, what they call hot homes, they can go for 20% more. And they do not hang around. They're typically going under contract in just about 24 days. This is the world our two houses live in. And to put that into perspective for you, the sales volume in the Marinas District shot up by over 31% year over year. That's nearly triple the average for the rest of San Francisco. So demand isn't just strong here, it is absolutely surging. So in a market this hot, how on earth do you even figure out a starting price? Well, the pros have a very specific toolkit for this, and it moves way beyond guesswork into hard, cold data. I'm sure most of us have used an online estimator to get a quick idea of what a home's worth. And they're great for a ballpark figure, but let's be real, a computer algorithm can't see that you just put in a brand new kitchen, or that you have a stunning view. That's why professionals use a much more hands-on tool, the Comparative Market Analysis, or CMA. You can think of a CMA as the gold standard for pricing a home. It totally ignores the asking price and focuses on the only number that really matters, what a real buyer actually paid for a very similar nearby home. These comparable sales, they're called comps. And the process is super methodical. An agent finds those recent comps, and then they adjust the sale prices to account for any differences. Maybe one home has an extra bathroom or a newer roof. Finally, they factor in the heat of the current market to land on a really precise price range. It's kind of part data science, part street-level expertise. But, data and analysis are only half the equation. A home's price is also about what people want. So what features are buyers actually willing to pay a premium for in today's market? It's the oldest role in the book, right? And as Redfin's lead economist says, it is absolutely still true. Location, location, location. It really does trump almost everything else. And we already know our two houses on Retiro Way are scoring pretty high on that one. But beyond just the general neighborhood, specific features add real, measurable cash value. Being able to just walk to shops and parks can add a 24% premium. A 5% improvement in local school test scores, that can boost prices by 2.5%. And even smaller things, like an extra bathroom adding 6% or a home office adding 3%, can tack on thousands to the final price tag. These are the details that really move the needle. Okay, let's do one final zoom out. Because no home exists in a bubble. Its price is always, always tied to the health of the broader market. A key way to measure this is something called month's supply of inventory, or MSI. It's actually pretty simple. How long would it take to sell every single home currently for sale? As you can see, anything under 4 months means demand is crushing supply, which creates what we call a seller's market, and that is exactly where San Francisco is right now. Now, nationally, things are a little more balanced, with just over half of homes selling for under the asking price. But the one factor everyone is watching, mortgage rates. Some economists are calling them the magic bullet. The forecast says rates might dip in the next year or so, which could pull even more buyers into the game and really heat things up again.
Okay, we've looked at the neighborhood, the professional tools, what buyers want, and the big national picture. So let's take all of that and finally solve our Retiro Way puzzle. So, that $1 million gap? It's not a mystery after all. It's a story, and it's written by all the data points we just walked through. Number 33 is a single-family home, which almost always gets a higher price than a condo because you get land and privacy. It's bigger, and it has that extra bedroom and bathroom we know buyers will pay for. Then you place that exact home in a hyper-competitive neighborhood during a strong seller's market, and that price difference starts to make perfect sense. So ultimately, a home's worth isn't just one static number. It's a living, breathing story. It's written by the house itself, the street it's on, the buzz of the neighborhood, and the big currents of the national economy. So the real question for you is, what story is your home telling?